All right, happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to the Chamber Talk Show. I'm Dr. Tamika Manning.
And I'm Dr. April Givens.
All right, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. We have a great show for you guys. We have some men in the room, and today we are about to hear from these men. We want these men to stand up and tell us what it is to be a real man. And I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. We have Keldrick Hayes, Jay Field, Jeremy Jackson, and we are ready to get into the show. Are you guys ready?
Absolutely.
All righty. All right, let's go. All right. I couldn't wait for today because I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on? Nice to be here. How y'all doing?
Thank you
All
for
right,
having
I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves.
Jeremy, you want to go first?
Sure, why not? Jeremy Jackson. I'm a native of Oklahoma. Been in Dallas for now 12 years, and I do come from a relationship coaching background as well as a musical background, and licensed minister for 22 years now.
Okay.
Awesome. Look. I might need to do something with you, Jackson.
Let's get at it.
My man said he got the relationship counseling on the way. I'm gonna have to slide through.
Oh, come on, man, across the street.
All right, y'all. My name is Jay Ville. I'm originally from Northeast LA, San Bernardino. Excuse me, Apple Valley. I've been in Dallas for a hot minute. Currently, I'm in New York, but glad to be here. My original background was in the IT and tech space, and then I moved from the IT and tech space in 2008. I went into the education space, taught high school math for 4.5 years in the classroom from algebra to AP Calculus VC at regular pre-AP and AP levels, and then migrated over to become an instructional coach. So taught teachers for a couple of years. Was a district level administrator over 7 schools in DeSoto, and then was a K-8 instructional coach as well for math and science and other levels. And then was an adjunct professor of mathematics at a university as well. And then started my own tutoring brand about 6.5, almost going on 6.5 years now, called Ink Education. We survey students from kindergarten to PhD level in all subjects, test preps, English reading, writing, foreign languages, and a whole bunch of other things. Including mentoring as well. I have a new nonprofit called Black Tutors of Social Media, and also have a financial literacy and credit consulting brand called the Jay Ville brand. So glad to be here to have different conversations and just contribute to the energy in the platform.
All right. All right. So you're busy. All right, Keldrick. Hey.
He's busy.
Right.
Yeah.
My name is Keldrick Hayes. From Dallas. Mine's gonna be real short. I'm from Dallas. I've been driving trucks ever since I was an adult. I raised all my kids. Nobody went to the penitentiary. Nobody strung out on drugs. So, hey, that's a win for me.
Family man. I love it. So I like that we have a variety. So, hey, let's just do it. What makes a man? What makes a man a leader?
Go ahead, fellas. I'm gonna come in on the back end.
I mean, I think that's a loaded question. So I think for one, a real man knows himself above all and above anything else, as well as believing in God or whatever your spiritual situation may be. I'm not going to say it has to be God, but it has to be somebody. So make sure that you're led by your religious higher being first, and then once that's completed, being a real man is really getting to know yourself. I can say this. I thought I was in the journey of being a real man until it was more so going through some things in my life where I actually had to get more in tune with more mental health, right? Like I didn't really pay attention to mental health when it came to just my life in general, and of course, more so recently, I've been in the middle of a custody battle, so it's been interesting trying to kind of see what mental health really looks like from that perspective when you've never been put into that kind of dynamic before, and it really tests your limits as a parent going against the system, especially an involved parent, not an absent father, but a present father who goes through the system. It really puts your mental health through the test. So I think being a real man is understanding what it is that you have to not only offer, yourself, right, but your child if you do have kids, and also, if you're in a relationship, a marriage or a serious dating situation, what do you have to also offer that person that can be a partnership at some point in time? I always like to say that when you're in a relationship, you date, you meet them, right? Then you're dating, then you're in a relationship, then you're in a partnership. A relationship, a relationship, a marriage, and then a partnership. You don't hit that epitome of partnership until both parties understand what it is to grow outside of a particular marriage, right? And what that means is really, can you get assets together? Can you build together? Can you build a legacy? A partnership builds legacy. A marriage is a marriage, right? It's paper, right? You sign that paper and you have things on either side. But to go beyond the paper and to really go into what matters, you have to develop into a partnership. And I think being a man is standing up for yourself, standing up for your values, and not taking no mess from people that you don't need to take no mess from, right? You have to ensure that the values that you do believe in is something you're going to hold strong to. And nobody can take you away from those particular values. And I think that those are the beginnings of what a man is in my eyes. You know what I mean? So I'll leave it there and let everybody else kind of chime in.
Okay.
Everything he said, I'm gonna second that. I think the only thing I would add myself of how I look at myself, and I can say that I'm a man, is just knowing my worth, and nobody can take that from me. Like I know who I am. I know my foundation. I know what I stand on, and that's, to me, anybody can say they're a man because of them being a male species, but not everybody stand up and be a man.
Right.
So.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And great points by Kel and Jay. For me, I will add to. For me, I look at being a man as man being short for the word manager. And if you are a man and you are a manager of self, then you are in tune with your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, your psychological. And if you're managing that, then there is no taking advantage of me. There is no hustling me. I come in because I'm managing self. So men, I believe by design, to be a man is to be a manager, is to literally manage yourself in all capacities of your life. That's what I believe, in short, a man is to me.
Now, wait, now I will add to this. I just thought about that. This might spark a little fire, but I also think being a man is not denoted by when you're living with somebody as well that a man has to take care of everything in the household 100%.
Right.
And so, prime example, my mom and dad, before they actually got divorced, more so in the past couple of years, they had been married for like 39 years, right? And so my mom actually is the one, they both were six-figure earners, but my mom was on the higher six-figure side. And so, my mom paid the mortgage, right? My mom paid the mortgage. My dad paid all the other bills and all the car notes and all that good stuff that basically equated to the mortgage in a sense, right? So they were both pretty much paying what needed to be paid in the household, but didn't necessarily mean but that she paid the mortgage that he's any less of a man, or because she does this or she's any less of a woman, right? It's more so, what do both parties agree on that they're going to do for the household that makes sense for that particular household? You're not a man because you don't pay all the bills. You're not a man because you don't pay the mortgage. You're not a man because you don't handle certain things. Now, if you got kids and you don't take care of your kids, then you're not a man. But if you take care of your kids responsibly, right, like you're supposed to do, and you hold yourself accountable for
Mhm.
being a partner to your partner, right? Then that is what being a man is about. But I just want to clarify that being a man is not paying all the bills. Being a man is not being held to the standard of you have to be responsible for everything inside the house,
Correct.
and then the woman takes care of just the cooking and cleaning and all that. And I don't even consider that just to be a woman. A woman is more than cooking and cleaning. Like cooking to me,
Yes.
cooking and cleaning is the baseline. I can cook and clean. I don't need a woman for that.
There you go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure out what do those things look like inside the household that define being a man or a woman that makes sense for y'all, not what society tells you it has to be. I just want to say that.
So to piggyback off of that, my question would be to all of you men, what advice would you give to a young man who is, pursuing a relationship with a female? What are some things that he needs to have within himself, maturity wise or whatever? What advice would you give him?
Ooh, I would tell him, don't do it.
Don't do it. Why
No.
not?
In today's age, look, okay, but go ahead.
It's so hard. Like you said, in today's age with social media, like women now, it's just so different. It's like they look at what things are supposed to be when that's not in reality. So now you have this young man who can only bring this to the table, but she's like, no, I deserve. I mean, I want way more than what you can obtain. So it's just
Yeah.
like I would tell any young man, like, just learn yourself first. Get to know yourself first before you even try to, I don't know, go out and be with anybody, because
Yeah.
you're not gonna be no good to them if you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
I would definitely say, even to my younger self, I would say to a young man that's dating, first of all, find your purpose. Find a vision. You see what I'm saying? Because if you look for the woman before you have a vision, you're gonna attract the wrong one. But if you focus on your purpose, focus on your business, focus on your on where you're fall in love with whatever that thing is, if it's detailing cars, if it's going to school, there. Because in that regard, that's when you'll find how to manage self. That's when you'll find confidence. That's when you'll find who you are. And then you'll be able to see, does this person that I'm pursuing, do they add, subtract?
I love it.
That's right.
Okay. So I was doing a little research, of course, and I was looking at numbers. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me is it says researchers say women prefer men to lead, no matter the income. I mean, does income matter to you guys? This is a twofold question. And then, of course, Keela is asking, do you feel a man should date if he isn't financially stable? I want to hear from you guys on that. And definitely, even if a woman makes more, this is just my opinion, it really doesn't matter. But I want to be supported when I come home, no matter what. I want to hear from you guys.
I think I don't think who makes more in the household actually matters per se, right? If the woman makes more money, like I told you in my situation, my mom made a little bit more money than my dad, or if the man makes more money, I do believe, and this is something that I had always said before, depending on who's on the mortgage. Now, if both y'all are not on the title, and the man is on the title, but the woman's not on the title, or vice versa, if the woman's on the title, but the man's not on the title, depending on who moves in with one another, that is either my house or it's either her house, and she's living in it or I'm living in hers, right? But at the same point in time, it doesn't necessarily mean I can't lead because I'm in her house or vice versa, right? So I think the income, the income doesn't necessarily matter as far as who is leading and passing on to leadership per se, right? What I do think is everybody should contribute to a pot of funds for the household. I got my money, right? She has her money, but we have another account that actually all the bill money goes into. So right. I can't say, yo, I paid all the bills, or she can't say, yo, I paid all the bills, right? It's more so we paid the bills because we contributed to this pot together. So right. The last thing we should be worried about is the bills being paid, right? I got my own spending money. She has her own spending money. Now, I think you have to, in order to be a man or a woman, you have to learn how to lead and follow. right? Now, it's not always saying that I'm whatever I say always goes. I try to ask input and say, hey, I'm gonna do this. What do you think about that? Or I'm gonna do X. What do you think about that? Now, if she chooses not to respond to that and she does it and says, I don't know, or I don't really know what to think about that, then at that point, it's fair game for me to just go ahead and move forward. What I'm gonna do, because I did already asked you what your response is gonna be, what your input is gonna be. But if you don't give no input that's even valid, I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward, right? So I think leading is taking ownership of what's happening in the household, the ideas, the morals, the values of what the household is supposed to be in that particular home, and what everybody believes in. You lead with that. After you lead by faith and God, then you lead with those values and those morals, and then after that, y'all have to come to a head together and figure out what decisions need to be made for the household. Now, prime example, I'm a guru in financial literacy. I have a 830 plus credit score, right? So clearly, I'm gonna be the finance person in the household more than likely, right? So if she's saying, hey, what do we need to do with all these bills, or hey, what should happen with this credit, or hey, what should happen about these cards, or whatever the case may be, then I can give advice on that, because that's part of my background too, right? I used to work for banks and used to work for Experian credit agencies, so I have that background. So my thing is, whoever has the background for whatever y'all are discussing, that person leads, and then the other person can follow. And then the other things that nobody has no insight on, or no experience, or no expertise on per se, y'all then lead together and figure out what y'all supposed to do. That's my thing on that. Oh, my fault. And then to add that one question, they said, do you have to be, are you financially stable to date? I do think if a young man is to date a woman in this day and age, you do have to be financially stable to do so. Meaning that if you can't take yourself out to eat, how you expect to take a woman out to eat, right? Or how do you expect to really date a woman if you don't have yourself together, and vice versa? Some women are A1 and they decide, hey, they want to ask or do that, or they want to go on a dates as well. So if either party doesn't have their finances together at all, I suggest you get yourself together first, and then you start walking the pathway of dating who you want to date as you go along, and you secure the bag when it's ready.
And I think that to add to what Jay's saying, I think that we should look at just the entire stable. Is he financially stable, but is he mentally stable?
Right.
If he's mentally stable, is he spiritually stable? The whole stable matters, because at the end of the day, if that person is not emotionally stable, mentally stable, but they got all the money in the world, then you end up with a narcissist. I mean, it can get nasty, but what Jay said.
What did you say? Did you say narcissist?
You can end up with one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what Jay said, and he took the right out of my mind. It's just like in scripture, when you hear that word submission, a lot of times women's mind kind of lock up, like, oh. But if you actually if we see it in context, it's actually a mutual submission. It's a man submitting to the woman and a woman submitting to the man, but it's for the mission. And if we're mission-minded relationally and mission-minded in what we're doing, then like Jay said, it takes a lot of humility. Like Kel understands, being a father, it takes a lot of humility, and to be a man and a real one, because you got to know when to be the lion and when to be the lamb.
Okay, so I think action defines leadership. Kel, you've been married for a while, a long time. Talk about some of the actions, because I know we've talked about men stand up. What does that actually look like in the household? What does that look like?
Just being an example. First of all, you have to be you have to give them something to look up to. Yeah. If I was sorry and lazy and didn't want to go to work and just sent Yolanda out to go to work, then the boys and everybody, they would just be like, oh, what I'm getting up for? I mean, Dad didn't get up. I'm gonna stay asleep too. So it's like just being that person that I'm giving them something to look up to and be like, you know what? My dad never, been to prison. He's not strung out on drugs. And I want to be like him, and even with Yolanda, like she's looking at me as the person that's leaving and coming back and bringing the money home and taking care of everybody. So that makes her be like, okay, yeah, he might be all right. I'm gonna stick around for a little bit, longer. So
I
yeah.
like that, and of course she adds to, so it's a partnership. I heard one of you say that. I think that's so vitally important. It's critical, a partnership working together.
Absolutely.
Right.
Only ship.
I love it. I love it. So it's not a dictatorship. I do have a sound bite really quick from a gentleman, and I want you, I just want your feedback after you hear this. Take a listen.
The less of a man. Honestly feel like when it comes to women, it's a certain role you have, and as men, we have a certain role. Men, we're leaders, and women are supposed to follow. And in most cases, she can't follow and get with my program, which is for me to lead, then she can't be with the program. So most women in that case, I try to avoid.
He said, get with the program. Feedback. What are your thoughts?
I think that it, like what he said, I understand in parts. There are roles, but roles should never drive how we, how the whole thing. I mean, we do have certain God-given assignments. I'll put it that way, but never so much to where we can't, understand the whole spectrum. The bottom line is, when God made man to be the head of the house, that literally does not mean. It literally means we are the foundation that the house is built.
Yeah.
Right. I think the
Simply-
same. I think the same thing. But I mean, let's take it a step further, right? They always say, what is the thing they say? One man find it when a man find out the wife, he find a good thing. Now, let me tell you this. Time and time again, I always tell people about that one part, that one saying that everybody always says, right? I think that there's a caveat to that. A man find out the good woman. I mean, when a man find out the woman, he find a good thing if she's an actual good thing, right? Now, just because you find a woman don't mean she's a good thing. Like my man.
That's another show. That's
like-
another show.
And Jeremy said, right? Right? But
Right.
at the same time, I think based on the things that he said, we don't know the dynamic of everybody's situation, right? So obviously, if a man is supposed to lead, then a man is supposed to lead. However, everybody's program, as he stated, right, would get with the program is a different program.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jeremy's program might be CBS, I might be ABC, and then Kale might be PBS, right? So everybody's program is relatively different. However, right, if it's said and stated from the beginning that the man and the woman agreed on certain things to happen within the household, then the program is the household's program, right? That is the program. So everybody has to get on one page from what is decided and discussed. Now, everybody might not be, might not agree to everything that's in the household. So then it's like, okay, well, who leads that way, right? If I don't agree with what she said, or she don't agree with what I said, even though I've tried to describe and rationalize and define what it is that I need her to understand time and time again, if she don't listen, then maybe he's right. Maybe she got to get with that program, or she got to leave, because I can't expect a woman that I'm with to say she wants to follow my lead, but when I lead and want to do things that should be done, or want to do things my way, and you continue to not follow, then I guess you got to get out or do your own thing, because
you just said my way. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute, because you just said my way. So the thing about women is, we don't follow if we don't feel like you have the ability to lead. So that's one thing too. So a lot of men create this program, but it may not necessarily be the best program for everyone involved. And so then that's when the woman feel like she got to step in and make some decisions because he's unable to do so.
Mm-hmm. And with that, Dr. Givens, I think it too, when it's the I, me's, and my's, we get in trouble a little bit there, because when you open that thing all the way up, there's going to be, by design, some areas where men don't see it so clearly and we need help, where women don't see it so clearly and they need help. And so at the end of the day, I think that the I, me's, and my's, like we said initially, if we get on the same page, we figure out, hey, where are we trying to go and how are we going to get there? And then to understand what the gentleman was saying, there are some women in 2022 that you can't lead to the store. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then I think it takes a lot of attunement to understand if you're gonna lead a man, then you have to know how to love one.
Mhm.
Because if you love a man right, you can lead him anywhere.
That part.
I like that. I like that part. Really.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So I think what I heard you guys say is that the man steps forward, he makes decisions,
Yes.
he takes responsibility. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct.
All right. So the age-old question is, and I'm gonna kind of do like Dr. April and play devil's advocate as well. We're talking about men standing up, but we also talking about those who have not taken responsibility. Like Adam said, that woman that you gave me. So he didn't take responsibility. In my mind, I know Minister Pastor Jeremy can go there and we can have that discussion about that. But there are some men who still are playing and they need to grow up. In
True.
fact, I have a quick soundbite from
That's very
someone who wants you guys to address this question if you can.
My question is, why do men feel like they have to lie to kick it? Especially when you know you're only around for a good time and not necessarily a long time. Just be upfront. Let the woman determine whether or not she wants to entertain it. That way, when she calls you out, you won't be walking around calling her crazy.
Real quick, because we're on our way out, but I just wanted to have you guys address that. We got a lot of men players out here.
Go ahead, Kel. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot of women in this world, and it's just too many, y'all. So we have to something. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I don't know. I just think it comes with a mindset of growing up and being a man and understanding that, look, there's really nothing out there like that. Like, all you're doing when you go play, you just bring in a lot more drama into your life. So you have to just understand as a man, like, listen, do I just want to be faithful to this one woman and deal with her madness? Or do I want madness from multiple women? So I just can you imagine just having 5 and 6 of y'all just constantly in your head? Like, I want to go here. What you want to eat? Da, 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 da. Like, that's too much. So
I think that we
just
get it's hard sometimes to be honest when they think it's a lie.
Mm.
And when you are, and it took me some years to say, okay, no, they really want pure honesty.
Mhm.
But a lot of guys, I think, and Jay can probably attest, and Kel too, that if a man is up front to say, hey, this is all I want it to be, as soon as it gets physical, then emotions get involved, and then lines get crossed, and it gets wavy in there, and you start dealing with, but I mean, the question like, what are we now? Well, I already told you what we were.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's always that wanting more than more and more because of the physical part. But that's a loaded place. Go ahead, Jay.
But hold on, let me jump in there for a minute because
Come on in here.
I like their response. So the issue is that being completely honest with the woman. So like you said, I'm telling her from the get-go that this is what it is. We're just friends, or we're just friends with benefits, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Where the lines start to blur is a lot of times the man's actions don't line up with what his words are. Because if I'm telling you as a man, this is what it is, we're just friends with benefits or whatever, but then he starts doing more things in a relationship, staying over, spending the night, buying her things, taking her on trips, doing these things, she's getting confused, even though he's continuing to say, hey, all I want to be is just friends. But every time she called him, he's over there, he's doing all these different things. So that's where the lines get blurred. So I always caution men, mean what you say and don't let your actions not line up with what it is that you say. If you just want to be friends with her, show that. Don't play the relationship role if that's not what you want.
So being by nature, Jay, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
I already gave one response.
No, you good. You're gonna come back in on the back end. So I think there's a couple of things that play into that, right? So one, to kind of address what the woman said, I think that there are a lot of men and a lot of women in the sea, right? But at the same point in time, the problem in today's day and age, I'm not saying back then with Adam and Eve, right? But today's day and age, we're talking about trying to find everything you want in one person, whether it be one man or one woman, right? But there might be 5 different women that have everything you want. So the goal is at that point, that guy or whoever that may be is trying to put all of those qualities, right, in one person with 5 different people, because he can't find them all in one woman. He wants them all in one woman, but the odds of him finding all those qualities he really wants in one woman are slim to none in this particular day and age. Now, the problem is, on the flip side of what you're talking about too, is I think that understanding what it is from jump as well is very important. So if you do want to date this person, then say you want to date this person. If you want to date this person without them being necessarily exclusive, like my man, look, like everybody's heard recently with P. Diddy, right? With that whole situation he got going on, right? So is it that person is a monogamous relationship? Are you just exclusively dating that person? Or does one person in that situation say, you know what? I thought we were boyfriend and girlfriend. I thought we were exclusive, but that other person didn't necessarily say you were exclusive. Yeah, you just assumed that we were exclusive, and you just went about your merry way claiming that we had a relationship or something deeper, right? And then if you get intimate or whatnot, like you said, the feelings do get involved. For the guy, it may not be as deep of a feeling, but for the woman, it might be more of a feeling. So it causes confusion on her end. But at the end of the day, both individuals have to outline the fact that it is what it is, or it's not what it is. Now, some people will say, okay, well, because you didn't necessarily do that, then that's lying by omission, but you didn't ask me. If you didn't ask me, or I didn't ask you, then nobody's going to know the final thing. It doesn't mean you lied or I lied. It just means the question was never asked. So we didn't lie by omission. You just never asked the question.
So the bottom line is be straightforward, keep it real. You know, I think at our age, you know, it's just, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
Being straightforward, being honest with people, that is the best way to go. It looks like we need a part 2 because we're out of time. But great discussion. Men stand up. We do look for you guys to lead. We want to come home and be that soft person, because the world, in some days we feel like the world is against us, and so we want that peace at home, and we want that man to lead. We don't want the foolishness. I'm pretty sure Dr. April can attest to that as well. If you want to chime in on that.
No, you got it.
We want you guys to lead at the end of the day, but we definitely appreciate all of you guys coming on this afternoon. I feel like there's another part to this. And for those of you who are watching, of course, definitely go out to That's right. Go out there, subscribe to the show. We have everything from fitness to mental health to relationships. You name it, we do it. We talk all things mental health. As we get ready to end, also, we have some books that are out. Dr. April has a journal, a self-help journal for relationships and for mental health strategies and tips to improve your overall well-being. And then also my book is out as well. So go out there. You can go to Amazon and Lulu for both books. A holistic approach to wellness. That's what we do, and we're going to continue to do this. Again, we definitely appreciate you guys coming on today, and we actually hope to see this panel again, because I feel like we need to spar some more. I feel like we have.
Oh,
All right, stay tuned.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right, thank you.
A whole bunch.